Let's get going. Welcome, everybody.
Thank you so much for having me. I'm really excited about our conversation today because our conversation is one of my biggest personal dilemmas in my personal life. So last night, I went to sleep and I was so excited that today I am going to talk about a subject that I never had a chance to fully open up about because I never, Surijun, met somebody before you that made me feel like they can answer this question of mine. And this question of mine is all about how to navigate the financial world while being in your feminine energy. The reason this question comes to me all the time, which left me sleepless last night, is that I always have this dwelling that a woman in her femininity is a creator. Femininity gives birth. So she is a creator. Femininity is Mother Earth. She creates this universe. She gives birth to another life. Then, when we want to create in the financial world, we our femininity is encouraged to step into her masculine energy. And these two don't add up for me. How come when I want to create another life, I'm in my feminine energy and I can give birth? But when I want to gain financial independence and I want to make money, I should be in my masculine energy. Is creating money harder than creating another life?
Mm. That's a very good question, Megan John. But I think that I need to start a base for this. Would that be okay?
Please.
Okay. So for that, first of all, welcome everybody. And if I can have your full attention at the moment. So the first step always is for us to ground ourselves. So let's start, everybody, by grounding ourselves. And if you ask if you're new to this concept of being grounded or ungrounded, let me just make it very, very simple. The easiest way for me to become grounded is to vision myself as a tree. And let me guide you through that. For us to imagine that we are a tree and we are rooting really, really deep into Mother Earth. I want you to feel that in your physical body because a lot of the wealth and success that we're going to talk about is going to be about the physical body. So let's get to know our physical body. And I'm not saying this in a superficial way. Oh, of course I know my body, this is my hand. No, I'm talking about another way that we really get deep into our body and understand our bodies and connect to our bodies in a much deeper level at the moment. So imagine yourself that you are being a tree and you just rooting, and as you see yourself rooting, get deeper and deeper and deeper. See all of your branches getting deeper into the ground. And the more you do this, you become more focused. As every second that passes by, you feel yourself more grounded, more solid. And all of a sudden, as you see, as you are rooting deeper and deeper into the earth, your airiness, the airy energy, the scatteredness, the confusion, being all over the place, all of these movements, we are actually bringing it into one place, makes the energy focus, and bring this energy totally into the Mother Earth. Now I want you to stay right here, feeling grounded, feeling quite awake. And I just want you to listen to me, but listen with your heart. See if that's possible, that you no longer listening from your mind, from your critical mind, but I want you to listen from your heart. Because what I'm going to speak about right now is the knowing and is the remembering. For me to remember who I am. So, do you remember when you know something, it doesn't mean you have to understand that when I talk about the truth, it sounds really good because you remember that's the part of you, your higher self, that knows all of this. And when you hear the truth and you're hearing it from me, I don't know, maybe for the first time or for the 10 times, when you're hearing me, you hear the knowledge and you have this aha moment that, oh, I already know this. But the part that is missing is that we think when we hear the knowledge, is automatically sits into our DNA cellular level, and we think we already own it. But where we go wrong is that the knowing, the knowledge has to be practiced. Knowledge, awakening, enlightenment comes and goes. It's not something that once you experience it, you're going to have it forever. So, what I want you to understand right now, where you go wrong probably is that when that knowing comes, you automatically think it's going to last forever. And that's not true. The truth is that you have to start owning, having the truth, holding it on, making it your own, and that comes with daily practices. So there are three important aspects that requires our attention. One is that the ego part of us, the ego represent our needs, the sense of lack, and the feeling of separation from the source. So by now, we all know this part. The physical body is the second part. Now we're coming to the physical body. That's what I said. Let's really get to know our physical body. The physical body is the inner child, is the part that feels and think is wounded, is the vessel that contains the self-identity. And it's important to recognize that who you believe yourself to be in the deep level influences your thoughts and your actions. This is why spiritual content often resonate with you with the third part, which is I am God. That's the part, I am God, is when there is no longer a separation, when there is that, yes, I am one with the source, I am one with God, right? However, integrating this understanding into the physical body, it takes time. Because if you imagine that as human being, we're not just one part for us to feel and think that, okay, this is who I am. Once you realize that as a human being, there are so many different aspects of me, as we're talking about now, these three different aspects. So once you come to meet that part of you, that I am God, that part is not sitting into your cellular memories. And for that, for you to become one with your higher self, I am God, this is the part that it takes time into the physical cellular body
Mhm.
to contain that. And in order for this to happen, what needs to take place is that you have to create a new belief. There is a new belief that has to come, because the majority of time for most of us, including myself, in the past, it was I was the ego. I was always the second part of the physical, which was the wounded inner child, right? So, in order for us to be introduced to this third part, that I am God, since so far we have been only introduced or have a recognition of the part of ego mind, the inner child, and all the wounds and what happened to me and the storylines, because we're so familiar with these two parts. Now, if you're introduced for the first time that there is a third part, which is I am God, that this is the part, and this is why you always felt something is missing. There is this emptiness within you that you didn't know where this emptiness was coming from. Now you know. This is it. This is the part that somehow I know that I am God and I am one with divinity and the whole creation. But the frustration comes in when you don't know how to hold this within you, and you don't know how to come from this place. So why are we as humans so frustrated? Because there's a knowing that I know who I think and believe I am right now is not the authentic self. And it makes me feeling sick to my stomach to think that I am not being authentic. Somehow I know there's a bigger part of me. There is this grand, this awakened part of me that I don't have access to. So are we good till now, Megan? Is that
Yes, like what the experience I went through as you were explaining, I saw my three parts, which one was the inner child, and the inner child is screaming and feeling and crying, and she's like, I'm scared. Then I saw the ego, which was the middle part, and the bashing me and criticizing me and basically, uh, yeah, putting me down. And then I felt the higher self, and the higher self was already perfect. The higher self was like, to give you an exact explanation, the inner child said, I'm not grounded, I'm too airy, I don't know what to do. The ego said, yes, of course you are, therefore you should not do this or do that, and therefore you should give up on a lot of work you like to do in this world because you're not grounded. The higher self, I watched the higher self, and the higher self was already so grounded. It was like a big tree with very big roots into the ground, deep into the ground. But my first part was so far from the authentic self that all I was imagining is, how am I going to bring the inner child in the arms of my authentic self or my adult self? And that became my, oh. And then when you said that we sometimes we receive the knowings of the authentic self, we receive the knowings of the adult authentic self, not the ego, but it doesn't stick with us unless we do it as a daily practice, because we need to develop the muscle memory and change ourselves at the cellular level. What my understanding was, which I wanted to ask you, is that this is where the conversation around genetics and epigenetics come into place. our genetics is the inner child. The inner child thinks it has the gene for being airy, it has the gene for being distracted, it has the gene for being annoying or whatever. The adult self already has all the perfect genes. And now we need to alchemize our genetics through the, if we want to explain it scientifically, you know, my background is genetic testing. We need to now alchemize our genetics through the science of epigenetics to match the genes of our authentic self. And
Mhm.
this process is where the daily practice comes in.
Mhm. Yes. So if you remember the first part, the ego mind, which I always say that these two are partner, that's the part that always find things that are wrong about you. That's the part of dissatisfaction. That's the
Part two,
separation.
right?
That's uh-huh.
Part two, between
And
the inner child and the authentic self. So inner child, authentic self, part two is in the mind and the ego in between. That bashes the inner child.
right. So basically, the minute when you come, it doesn't matter if you're at a ceremony, if you're taking psychedelics, or if you're in a presence of a guru that's raising your vibration and you're experiencing that enlightenment, that feel good, you might carry that energy of awakening for a couple of days. Then you have you're energized for a few days. You feel happy for no reason. You have the motivation and you can do things and you're very happy. But after a few days, the other two parts, the ego mind and the wounded child, comes and take over because you just go back to, it's just like a habits, your subconscious mind just takes you back to where it's comfortable and where it has been practiced more often and for a longer period of time. So then it's going to wear off after a few days. That's why my whole teaching is that the practice of thought cut silence and the awareness of being, you are not the ego mind, that separation, it takes a it's a full-time job for you at each moment to choose to be awake, the matrix, the blue pills or the red pills. So you have a choice at every second to be awake or to be sleep. That's a choice you make. But that's why I keep saying, I said, this practice of thought cut silence and separation from the mind is, it has to be practiced daily, because we're hearing scientifically it takes 21 days, no, 40 days for you to break the old habit and create a new habit. I don't know how long it takes, I mean, individually, but that's not so important. The important thing is, how committed am I to stay awake each day in my journey? Now, coming back, because I know you want to create your course, and this part is more about feminine and masculine. Now, what happens when we do this daily practice, and after we recognize these three different aspects of being a human, then by choosing to be awake every time and by doing this practice and staying awake, somehow in your journey, you realize that the feminine and the masculine aspects, or the right brain or the left brain, and the right and left masculine, the yin and yang, merge together, they align and they become one. Once this happens, now we're coming to the manifestation and money and success. One of the reason why we don't manifest what we want, number one, is because we feel broken, right? We're not whole. We spend so much time on gathering these pieces that has been broken and bringing it together. That takes a long, long time. And as you know, as long as you feel you're broken and you're not complete and whole, you're not going to have access to the whole manifestation, right? But once you realize the yin and yang part, and you manage to bring these two together to align and move towards the same direction, what happens at this time is that the energy is more focused and the energy moves straight forward, right? So imagine if these two parts comes together, the feminine and masculine. Now the physical coming back to the physical body. The physical body is the part that needs to get pregnated with the idea. Now imagine yourself that we all know that the feminine energy, we know as the womb of the mother, we know where the creativity is, the idea comes from, and the masculine part is the part that is going to take that idea, give it energy, and move it forward, right? So now by masculine and feminine coming together, and you feel no longer broken, the energy become focused, and now you have this space of birth, giving birth to this child, which the child is your manifestation, and bringing it, giving it birth. But here's another problem, because oftentimes when we start the journey of manifestation to money, wealth, success, or whatever it is that you're after, we think that the minute we give it birth, now we can just let this child on his own and it's just going to go straight, right? So, but I would like you right now to collect yourself again, bring yourself, ground yourself again to come to these parties. When you intend with others, it is important to recognize that you need to, this knowledge, this information has to come deeper into the physical body. The physical body is the host, right? Another thing that you and I talked about the other day, if you remember, I talked about, whenever there is stagnated energy, the stagnation of energy, the lack of flow of energy creates illnesses into the physical body. So the physical body is in the physical body that you and I experience inflammation, infection. And oftentimes what I see in human being, they are so looking everywhere for enlightenment. They're looking for spiritual gurus. They're looking so much to connect and become one with God that they totally ignore the physical body. And when you're not grounded, when you're scattered, you're all over the place, you're airy, and you're somewhere out there going to get a teaching from this guru or to that guru, and you're going to find God, you're leaving the physical body empty, and that's the perfect place for entities to enter your body. You're leaving the body, right? You're leaving the physical body, and this is where all the, and your vibration is low, is it, the energy is not flowing freely in your body, is lackage of flow of energy. So the it's a perfect place for the inorganic entities to enter your bodies, and parasites are an example of that. We talked about parasites the other day, and I said parasites, I did a live few years back, and I said, are you aware that parasites have hijacked your mind, your identities and everything? Is the parasites that give you the craving of wrong relationship, is the parasites that when you get the invitation to get into a relationship, whether it's narcissist or whoever it is, or any attribute that this character has, when you get induced to get into this toxic relationship, it's not you who's choosing it, is the is the other entities, or is the parasites. And when you get abused and you make some excuses that maybe something is wrong with me, or maybe I'm not getting the picture right, or maybe this is this or that, and you stay in that toxic environment, you need to realize that who is the one who's choosing to be there. If you are being abused mentally, emotionally, physically, and you still stay there, why? Did you ask yourself, who is the one who's holding me in this place? Who is it?
The parasite.
So, yeah. So remember at the beginning when I was talking to you, I said I see often people are looking for third eye activations and they want to work on their crown chakra and all of this stuff. I said the awakening and enlightenment doesn't start up there, it starts from your root chakra. That's why so much of my teaching has been from the root chakra. Let's be grounded. Let's be fully existing in the physical body, because everything starts from there. And if you're not fully existing in the body, like I said, if you're absent, if you're airy, if you're only looking for information, and I always say, nowadays, nobody has lack of information. The issue actually is there is plenty of information out there with social media today. Is the fact that how sensitive I am, how much I'm paying attention on what information am I allowing to come in, and what information I'm going to avoid or let it move out. It's very important. It's too much information, it's too much confusion, it's too much. So when is the time that I think maybe now is a good time for me to stop allowing or looking for more information to come in? Rather, I should shut down all the information that is coming in. So the word intimacy, into me, see. When am I going to do that? And when am I going to realize that every character, including myself, it doesn't matter what role we're playing, what costume we're wearing, all of these characters are just showing me where am I coming from. When you see, Megan, something about somebody, whether they're so put together or they're so grounded or whatever you see that you like, it's the mirror is telling you, Megan, this is the part of I am God. And when you see in other human beings, your child, your husband, your whatever, who is your mother, whoever, the attributes of these characters that you don't like is the part that I don't know who I am. So to make it very easy, when you look at the movie, every character that's playing a role, I know that these characters, they all an aspect of me that are showing me, am I coming from the part that I am God? If I'm coming from that place that I am God, there's no judgment, right? I'm not
Right.
judging anything. They are a character and they playing a role. But once I come to the part that, oh, I hate my mother because she's so abusive, or I hate this guy, he's so narcissistic, or whatever, then it comes to my attention again, oh, this is the other part of me that is so separated from the source, that is not, is the opposite side of I am God.
So does that mean that everybody around us is just a mirror for us to see different parts of ourselves?
Mhm.
So basically, as I go out the house, every person I encounter, mainly people that are close to me, they are not, they're only mirrors to show me different parts of me. If I see things that I like, if I see a person and I'm inspired by them, they're showing me the God in me. They're showing the godliness characteristics within me. And I see people and I encounter with people that are narcissists, or they have attributes that are not desirable. It's showing the parts in me that I don't like about myself, right?
Right, right. But
Now,
then, but
sorry.
then again, remember, if you remember when we had this conversation and I said, all these years, all the sessions that I did, all the people who are I see in my retreats or seminars or whatever, there's no judgment whatsoever. What they tell me about their life story, about what they have done, about who they have been, is the
Mhm.
part of you that doesn't judge anything and is just, so imagine if you didn't judge, if nothing was good or bad, if nothing translate as black and white, how would you see the other human being?
Just different actors in a movie, just observing from a place of nothingness other than, oh, just observing.
Mhm. So every aspect, if you say I've been in a really abusive relationship and the guy was very narcissist, if you know that this character is just playing a role, and as our ego has hundreds of shades, one part of me is the narcissist, one part of me is that enlightened master. You have all these layers. So when you see this character outside and he's playing this role of a narcissist, then you come to yourself. I did a live few years back, and I said, "Did you guys know that I am a narcissist?" And I talked about myself as being a narcissist, and I said, when do I become narcissist? The minute I there's that separation happens between me and the source, right?
Mhm.
And the lens, my lens come towards me. What's in it for me? In every relationship, any encounter, anything that happens is me, what's in it for me?
Mhm.
That's when I'm a narcissist, right?
Mhm. Mhm.
So when am I am a, no, I could be a narcissist every single day. I don't see it in myself because I'm so deeply into myself and that old story and living that old story and being a victim and oh, the poor me.
Mhm.
When the lens is contracted on me, that's when any of us is a narcissist. We don't
Mhm.
see it that way. But then again, when we look into the mirror always make this character so much bigger. And I tell you, I give you an example. Like a few years back, um, I was sent by spiritual guru. He was older and that stuff. And then he told me that I should go and learn from him, and he was very pushy. I mean, so anyway, I was hearing it from different people that, oh my God, he's so great and he's such a fantastic healer and that stuff. And then when I start seeing this guy, his ego was so big that I was like, oh my God, thank you so much. He's the universe mirror his ego so big for me that I understood how I could come across as being egoistic. Do you see? Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Being in the spiritual ego, which in my eyes is one of the most sneaky shapes of ego, the spiritual ego.
Yeah.
So Surijun, one thing that I'm understanding from our conversation is back to the question I asked at the beginning. I said femininity creates another human being. Femininity gives birth. But then when femininity wants to create money in the material world, femininity is told that it needs to step into its masculine side. But after listening to you, I understood that femininity is giving birth, but femininity is giving birth to the fruit of the unity and the intimacy and the oneness of the masculine and the feminine, which means that we, in order to feel grounded in the material world and manifest the groundedness into money, is for the feminine to unite and become one with the masculine, first within and also on the outside. Is that correct?
Yeah, it's absolutely correct. But I did a webinar 5 or 6 months. It was about the difference between third dimension and fifth dimension. And I said in third dimension, everything is duality, right? When we move on to a higher frequency, to the fourth or to the fifth, is we experience non-duality. So what is non-duality? There is no longer ego, mind versus heart and soul. There's no longer a separation between you and I. Everything will come into one. But in the third dimension, there is so much difference between the masculine and feminine. And if you remember in our past lives, what I said was that I said, as women, we have to come to this understanding that the past couple of years, as the energy of earth is moving faster, the men are starting to experience their feminine energy.
Mhm,
They're becoming more in tune.
mhm,
Men are becoming much better listeners, and they're being more sensitive. And
mhm,
if you remember in the past life, I said, as women, our responsibility is to hold the ground, to hold that space for men, not to shame them, which we often happen to do, because to us is we still time passes by, but we really, the humanity doesn't really shift consciousness. There is still women out there that they need the support of a man, and men have to wear the pants and they have to be the provider. And what is the conflict right now? The man wants to be brave and they want to experience the other part of them, but as women, do they allow them to do that? Are we holding the space, or are we shaming them? Why are you not making money? What's wrong with you? Why you look at so and so and da da da, right?
yes.
So there is still this separation between men and women. And I say, um, when we talking about masculine and energy, Megan, we not physically talking about a male and a female. We're talking about energy, right? So both of this energy, the birthing, the creation, the idea, the grasping of the idea, and the masculine, the energy, the motivation, the will to do and move, both of these are in me. We just don't realize it. You don't need to get a masculine energy, or you don't need to get this energy from somewhere else. Both of these energies are here. But coming back to your question, why women don't feel empowered come back, let's come back to the physical body again. As women, we hold on to so much traumas into our physical body. You know, I asked you the other day, why would you pay so much money for health insurance? Because once I realized, I mean, I didn't have health insurance for many, many years until Obama made it mandatory. I'm with you, Megan. Okay. So, as women now, it doesn't matter, even when I'm saying women, guys, though you guys who are here, I'm talking to the feminine part of you guys, right? So, let's open up trauma again. Let's go to the three aspects. The three aspect, the ego mind, that's creating the story, who's writing the script. Then I said the physical part is the inner child. So the trauma is in the second part of you, is that inner child that feels it's wounded and is experiencing all of this trauma. So again, let's open trauma. What is trauma? Trauma is lack of energy flow. And you and I know when there is a um, blockage somewhere in the body, when the energy is not flowing freely, what happens? There is an illness. There is a creation. There's a space for these disease. What is disease? This ease. You're separated from this ease. You're separate from the ease. So instead of looking for biofeedback and whatever is out there, why don't I come to myself and I say, where am I separated from the ease? This ease, how can I remove this and become the ease? How can I know to myself, recognize my body? Because believe it or not, the money issue, your money story is in the physical body. Did you know that?
No.
Yeah. Look at your body. Look at your body and see how healthy you are. I'm a healer shaman. When I look at people, I scan them, and sometimes I see a 20 years old organs is older than a 80 years old. Your age means nothing. Once you scan somebody truly, you see how old or young this person is, and it has nothing to do with your age. So if you're holding on to so much trauma, nobody connects and put the two together. As a woman, if I'm not empowered, if I'm not making money, if I'm not successful, let me tune in to the body. Let's see how healthy the body is. Let's see where are the blockages of energy flow. Why do you go to acupuncture? What does acupuncture do? Acupuncture puts the needles to where the energy is blocked, and it releases the blocked energy, and the energy start flowing. Once the energy start flowing, you become healthy, right? So your money story is not out there. Your money story or your blockage in the money is not about your education. It's not about the economy. It's not about your parent. It's just about, it's all inside of you. Your story is sitting in your body.
Wow. Sudi Jun, I just had many aha moments. And I want to wrap this up by sharing the biggest aha moment I had with our lives. And so last night, as I said, I was sleepless because for the reason I didn't know last night, but I know now, I started to have this panic about what if, as as a feminine woman, I don't get a experience to give birth and to create another life. And because I thought, okay, giving birth and creating another life is the same thing as creating money in this world. If feminine by itself, just being in your feminine energy, cannot create money, how can feminine by itself give birth? And I just realized that feminine by itself cannot give birth either. Feminine can only give birth once it unites with the masculine, become whole, become one, experience intimacy, and then the creation of another life is the fruit of that unity and that wholesomeness. Now, taking that to our inner world, knowing that we all have the feminine and masculine within us, if money is the creation of the unity between the feminine and masculine within us, I think our job is to unite the feminine and the masculine energies within ourselves, scan the body as a wholesome being. That's where we can unblock the blockages. And the fruit of that unity of the feminine and masculine energies within us is the money and the joy in the outside world.
Mhm. So no longer we look for anything outside ourselves, right?
Yes.
Everything resides within me. And I don't mean this by being a cliche. I mean this by really let this sink in you. Everything that you need, everything that you ever look for is within you. But as long as you're looking out there, you're not going to gain what you need. Today I had somebody, they sent me a message from somebody, and she said, doesn't it contradict when you say the universe has a plan for you? Maybe we should talk about this right now too. The universe has a plan, has everything has been planned from before, and the universe, there's a divine plan and that stuff. And I said, yes, but who listens to that and who believes in that? You know, it's just like all of us say, if I just sit here and be present and do nothing, life is already happening and the universe is giving me or provided everything that I need. But how many of us, in all honesty, cannot get tricked by the ego who after 5 minutes is going to say, what are you doing? Where's the money going to come from? How can you trust that your rent is being paid and your credit card bills is going to be paid? Nobody's there, right? So what I said, okay, in the third dimension, you can write your plans, you can see what you want, but also know that you are in the Matrix movie. Anytime you want, you can walk outside the Matrix. All of your needs will disappear. Everything you ever think you wanted will vanish. And then you can walk back into the matrix and you have all these needs and desires. And what if I never find a husband? What if I never meet my soulmate with, or like you said, what if I never give birth? Because what I talk about, and a lot of people say, yes, I really get it. Go back to what I said at the beginning. Doesn't it is that minute or second or maybe a couple of days of aha moment, I got it, but it's not, because it's not resonating in the bodies, in the cellular memories in your cells. It just jumps out. Nobody, although all of us say yes, the outer world is a maya, is only an illusion, who gets it? Truly, honesty in a day, every day when you wake up, how often do you hold this knowledge that the outside is a illusion, and I don't have emotionally, I don't get involved, the fear doesn't show up, the things that I have to do, I have to do them, and I'm behind, and oh my God, I'm so broken, oh my God, I'm so scattered, or I'm this or that. Because, like I said, going back to the beginning of life, you can get that aha moment for a few seconds, for a day, or for a couple of days, but then it disappears.
Unless we do daily practice.
There you go.
Thank you so much, Suri Jun. This was amazing. I love you.
Thank you, everybody. Thank you. Thank you. So, guys, if you're my followers and you haven't followed Megan, please do so. And the other way around. We'll see you guys next Thursday. Have a wonderful day. And also, guys, please write a comments what areas you wish Megan and I will cover. Where do you think you need more knowledge and information? Thank you. Thank you, Megan. God bless you. Bye
Bye.
bye. Bye bye.